What are trusts? In this video, we're going to talk about trusts. Well, trusts can be a very powerful tool in organizing your assets and making sure that they get passed on to the correct people and in the correct way, as well as potentially reducing estate taxes, which can be very onerous at 40% for federal taxes and up to 16% for Minnesota estate taxes. This can be one of the largest taxes that some Minnesotans face. Trusts also help solve problems of long-term care costs and can offer divorce protection for your beneficiaries. Let's understand what a trust is, what the different types of trusts are, and why people use them. Hi, I'm Matt Tram, and I help Minnesota families protect what matters most through proper estate planning. There are many different types of trusts, and your situation will determine what's best for you. Now, fundamentally, a trust is a legal arrangement where a trustee manages an individual called a trustor's assets. To have a trust, there are three parties: the trustor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. The trustor is the person setting up the trust and contributing the assets. The actual trust document is called a trust agreement, which outlines how the trust assets are to be used. The trustor appoints trustees to take control of the assets in the name of the trust, and the trustor instructs the trustee on how to manage these assets for the benefits of the beneficiary. The beneficiaries are the individuals that benefit from the trust. Now, these three roles can actually be all held by the same person, but it's often better to spread the roles around in the family depending on the goals of the trust. A trustor can also act as a trustee, which keeps you in control, but usually you want your trustees to be people that will outlive you, and typically we're thinking of this as our successor trustee if this was a revocable trust. Now, of course, there are different kinds of assets that the trustor can place into the trust: cash, property, fine art, stocks, shares, boats, airplanes. Anything that can be owned can be put into a trust. Well, most people think, because of what they've seen in popular culture, that trusts are only for rich people with estate tax problems. But actually, I'm here to tell you that they solve many more and much more common types of problems, like how to pass assets on to children and even how to deal with long-term care planning. Since most families don't have an estate tax problem, holding onto your home and not losing it to long-term care costs are oftentimes much more important. In Minnesota, nursing home costs average $8,900 a month, and putting your home into trust in advance means that it's more likely that your home goes to the children that you have and not to the nursing home facility. But that trust does have to be set up very particularly, and there are some trade-offs, so it's best to talk to a professional on that. A trust can also stop your assets from ending up in your child's future divorce settlement if structured correctly. That's another big one that parents tell me that they really want as far as a benefit. As for estate taxes, a trust is a great way to reduce the size of your estate for estate tax purposes. Reducing your estate can legally reduce your estate taxes, and that means that more than 40% at the federal level or around 15% at the Minnesota state tax level will go to your children instead of to the government. Now, it's a misconception that a trust will instantly eliminate your estate taxes, but with careful planning, we can reduce or eliminate them through proper structuring. Let's talk about some different types of trusts that you can actually have set up for your children. The first would be a simple trust. The assets are owned by the trust, but the beneficiary has an absolute right to claim the assets when they reach the age of 18. And once established, the trustee has little control over when that beneficiary receives those assets. The trustee has to follow those instructions. This could be useful if passing assets on to a younger child, and you want that to happen automatically when they hit a specific age. Another type of trust would be a lifetime trust. These types of trusts do have two types of beneficiaries: income beneficiaries who receive the income, and also remainder beneficiaries who receive assets after the income beneficiary's interest would end. This is incredibly useful for blended families, and you can leave income to a spouse, but after they pass away, assets can go to your children. Finally, I'll talk about discretionary trusts. This would be the most common type and the thing that I think parents want the most. And that would be that we can put someone in charge of a trust for our children who has the power to use their discretion and their good judgment to make distributions to our children for their health, education, maintenance, and support. This means that someone who needs extra help can get that help from the trust that you set up. As clients often tell me when thinking about their kids, Matthew, if I would have gotten money at 18, I would have had nothing by the age of 19, and I think that holds true for most of us. Now, all of this is just speaking in generalities, and I'm trying to spread some information here, but when you are ready to talk about creating your own trust with goals of your own and situations specific to you, I would obviously encourage you to speak with an estate planning attorney. Trusts are important legal documents that do require precise creation and drafting. And like medicine, you wouldn't want a general practitioner acting as your surgeon. A generalist attorney may not have the depth of the understanding for some of the minutia or the ins and outs here that come with forming a trust, as a specialist attorney who focuses on that area probably would. Regarding costs, in a trust, the benefits will always outweigh the costs if we do the trust correctly and if we have the proper goals in mind. If you have an estate subject to Minnesota estate taxes, for example, a trust can help you avoid those estate taxes up to 15% or more of the value of your estate above a certain threshold. Now, trusts will cost thousands of dollars to set up, but if you were, for instance, to compare this to the costs of long-term care in Minnesota at roughly $8,900 per month, you will start to see the value very quickly from your investment. You will, in fact, likely recoup that investment with a long-term care savings if you put your home into trust in the requisite amount of time before you need that Medicaid assistance. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you live in Minnesota and you want a trust to protect your family against estate taxes, long-term costs, creditors, divorce, litigation, or maybe you just need a will and powers of attorney and healthcare documents, click on the link below to watch our free video about how we can help you protect yourself with a solid estate plan here in Minnesota. And if you've decided that you want to set up a trust and you live in Minnesota, then click the link below on our website to schedule a complimentary consultation with us. Thanks for watching.